The World Cup is in just a few days, and I decided to go through every kit from all 48 nations and compare them to the kit that they wore the last time they were in the World Cup. Some of these nations haven't been here in over 50 years, others were here just 4 years ago. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna give you my pick for the biggest glow up and the worst downgrade of the entire tournament. So let's get into it. So kicking off the World Cup, we have Group A, and we're gonna start with Mexico. 2026 World Cup home kit versus its 2022 home shirt. And to be honest, this is an upgrade for me. When we look at 2022, we do see the designs, that graphic print on the front that is inspired by their culture. And it does show Mexico's identity. But when I look at the 2026 kit here covered in its full Aztec inspired graphic across the entire length of the shirt, it has those ancient symbols, awesome patterns. This just screams more Mexico to me, and it shows more of their identity, which is something that I love. And I think this 2026 shirt is a clear glow up from 2022. Now we have South Africa, who is back in the World Cup since 2010 when they hosted it. In 2010, they just wore a pretty much plain kit. It was yellow with green stripes on the sleeves. But this 2026 kit is a glow up. It's way sicker. It has a full tonal pattern across the whole shirt, Adidas stripes moved to the shoulders, and a fresh new crest right there as well, just making it a complete glow up for me. Now we have South Korea, and I'll say in both 2022 and this year 2026, they got their kits right. In 2022, their shirt had the tiger camel pattern on the sleeves and on the shoulders. The black collar added a nice clean touch to it. But in 2026, the kit takes it a bit further. They took that same tiger pattern camo and they put it on the front of their jersey, spreading across the entire front of the shirt, and their badge right there looks way more premium, along with the gold lettering in the words of Korea. Just gives it an overall premium look to it, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd say 2026 is a clear upgrade. Rounding off Group A, we have Czechia, which 20 years later, they come back to the World Cup. In 2006, their kit was basically just red. However, it was a simple and clean Puma kit with a strong crest on it. But fast forward to 2026 today, and what I'm looking at right here on my screen just doesn't do it for me. It looks like a corporate uniform. It looks like something that you would see someone wearing at Verizon or at Target. It has a little button right there at the top, which is kind of cool, I guess, but it just doesn't have the same character as that 2006 kit. So for me, this is a downgrade. Real quick, before we get into Group B, if you're wanting to buy any kind of gear for the nations that we'll see at the World Cup today, then I have a link down below in the description where you can browse and shop. So go ahead and click on that link and get the buy-in. Now let's get into Group B. Group B starts off with Canada, and honestly, I do not know what they were thinking in 2022, which was the last time they were in the World Cup. Because if you look at it, it's just a standard Nike template shirt. There was no design in it whatsoever. There was no thought really put into it. So this makes their home jersey for 2026 the clear winner. You got a maple leaf graphic inspiration printed on the front right there. It looks way better than what they had 4 years ago. So it's a clear upgrade. Up next, we have Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in 2014, the last time they were in the World Cup, they just used a generic Adidas template. Honestly, I don't know what these nations were thinking when they were coming up with their jerseys to represent themselves in the World Cup. The 2014 jersey just has blue stripes on the shoulder, nothing on the body, just plain and simple. Now, maybe the nation doesn't have too much of a voice to represent themselves in these designs. However, in 2026, this year, they have a dark tonal pattern all over the shirt, which makes it look really nice. The yellow trim lines running down the middle right there on the front just adds a nice touch to it as well. So in my opinion, this is a clear glow up from 2014. Qatar's last World Cup was in 2022 when they were the host nation. The kit was very basic. The cuffs had this zigzag pattern with the maroon and white going on right there. Nothing crazy really. But now this year for 2026, they took that same zigzag pattern and put it on the front of their jersey, and everything else remained the same. That little switch of views for that zigzag pattern just makes this 2026 the clear winner. So yeah, Qatar definitely upgraded from the last World Cup. Group B finishes off with Switzerland, and honestly, this is going to be a downgrade for me. The 2026 kit is honestly just a red kit. When you look at the 2022 kit, you see a bit of the striped lines right here in white. Those horizontal stripes running across the chest and the shoulders makes it look a little bit sharper. And for some reason, they took that away in 2026. So yeah, this is a complete downgrade for me. Brazil's gonna kick off Group C, and look, Brazil and a few other nations that we'll see in this video, they're gonna stick to their traditional look. They're not gonna be bold and try to do something outlandish. So when we look at 2022 compared to 2026, it's gonna be the same classic yellow and green. In 2022, they had a little button on the top there. They had a little subtle pattern as well on the front. They did the same thing here with 2026, but when I look at the 2026, I like it a little bit more. I don't know what it is. It just screams more of that like classic 70s Brazil. And I think that's what they were trying to do with this design. So for me, this is a clear upgrade from the 2022 kit. Up next, we have Morocco, who made the semifinals of the World Cup in 2022. The kit that they used that year was pretty much a safe choice. It was basically just a red kit with that bold green band across the chest. However, in 2026, they take it up to the next level, in my opinion. Because on this jersey, they have that little button at the top, which makes it feel kind of classic. And if you notice to the details on the cuffs and on the collar, those are inspired by traditional Moroccan embroidery and tile work. So for them to bring in their culture to this kit, even if it's just a little bit, it's just an awesome thing to see. So overall, in my opinion, this is a clear glow up for Morocco. Now we have Haiti, or Haiti, however you want to pronounce it. But it was 52 years ago since the last time they went to the World Cup. So congratulations to them being back at the world's biggest stage. So in 1974, their last World Cup appearance, they wore this long sleeve red kit with dark stripes. And honestly, if you showed me this picture of this kit, I would probably think that it was like Belgium. But it does give that pure 70s energy, which is pretty cool. The 2026 home shirt is completely different and I absolutely love it. It's a royal blue with the red and white collar and that beautiful inspiring graphic at the bottom right there representing Haiti's independence and historical legacy. It gives it a totally unique vibe, and in 2026, this home jersey wins by a landslide. To finish off Group C, we have Scotland, and it took them 28 years to get back to the World Cup. The kit that they used back in 1998 honestly looks way better than what they're going to use this year in 2026. For 2026, they decided to go a little bit more modern. The design is nice. It has a little subtle pattern which is clean, but when you look at 1998, it just screams retro vintage football. It's honestly something that I would go hunting for when I'm looking for kits. The crest on it is unique and the white collar on there just gives it that extra vintage look. So overall, this is a downgrade for me. Group D begins with one of the other host nations, and it's the USA. Now, I'm American. I was born and raised in the United States in California, but I now live in Colombia. And for me, when I look at this kit in 2026, it is a complete downgrade. It's too much in your face with the red stripes trying to look like the American flag, and honestly when I look at it, it looks like a candy cane. Now the 2022 home jersey isn't this amazing design, but the simplicity of it just makes it a lot better. The badges in the middle, the blue and red colors on the sleeves, and the chest piece as well. It's not trying to be in your face like this 2026 one. So for me, this is a complete downgrade. Now we have Paraguay. And it's been 16 years since they've been to the World Cup. And when I first started this video, I was gonna give this an upgrade, but now that I think about this more, and the more that I look at their 2026 kit, I'm gonna give them a downgrade. This kit in 2026 with this like paintbrush texture of the red stripes, it's just not working for me. And then when you look at their 2010 home shirt, they have the big bold red stripes. It definitely has more of a classic look back in 2010. So I'm changing my mind here and I'm giving this a complete downgrade in 2026. Up next, we have Australia, the Socceroos, and they're always one of my favorite teams to root for in the World Cup. In 2022, their home kit had this subtle splatter pattern across the body that gives it personality and makes it even feel more unique. However, in 2026, their jersey is actually a little bit more classier. It's more refined. It's cleaner overall. But 2022 does have just a little bit more character for me. So I'm going to say 2022 wins this, and Australia this year was a downgrade. To round off Group D, we have Turkey. And it's been 24 years since they played in the World Cup. In 2022, their kit was just very generic. It was just a red shirt with a flag on there and the Adidas badge. But this year, in 2026, they definitely upgraded. The flag is right there in the middle. It's a little bit larger. It's more in your face and it's proud, just like their country. And then you have this marbled Ebru detailing on the pattern, something traditional to their culture. And it just looks really nice overall. So in 2026, this is a complete glow up. Group E begins with Germany, and the last World Cup that they played in 2022, I really liked their kit a lot. I love that black vertical stripe that went down the center with the gold Adidas logo. Everything about it looks very nice, but when they released their 2026 kit, wow, I loved it even more. It has a very classy look to it. And I read that they designed it to honor their World Cup wins in 1990 and in 2014. So overall, 2026 is a clear glow up for me. And now we have Curaçao, who's making their World Cup debut. Now, since this is the first time in the tournament, I can't really compare it or give it an upgrade or a downgrade. So I'm just gonna react to it. They have a nice jersey for their first World Cup. It's royal blue. I love the swirling patterns on the shoulders and the sleeves there. The gold Adidas stripes on the shoulder and the collar as well. And the fact that they made it to the World Cup is even more crazy. So to have this kit to represent them is pretty cool. Ivory Coast is probably the African nation I usually root for in any international tournament. However, in 2014, their kit was just terrible. It's just a plain orange kit, really. It's nothing special. But now when we look at the 2026 upgrade, pattern on it makes it look great. The green coloring on the sides right there just give it a nice little touch to it. Overall, it's a really nice kit, and 2026 is a clear glow up for me. To finish off Group E, we have Ecuador, and they are actually one of my dark horses in the tournament this year. And honestly, nothing has really changed from 2022. Now, I don't know if they haven't officially released something for 2026, but if they're going with this similar design from 2022, then that's a real bummer. Because I think you'd like to see a little bit more effort than just repeating the same designs. And when you look at the 2026 one that I have on screen, yeah, sure, it's okay, it looks nice, but they kind of missed an opportunity here. I just wonder if Ecuadorians feel the same way as I do and probably would have loved to see something totally different. So for me, this is a downgrade because they didn't come out with anything new. Group F starts with Netherlands, and the 2022 kit had this pattern on it, which was pretty cool. It mimicked a lion's fur. I don't know if anyone kind of caught that during the Qatar World Cup, which is a really cool idea. But when you look at 2026, man, I just love this 2026 a lot more. The black trimmings on it just makes it stand out a lot more. It's cleaner, it's simpler. The brighter orange with the black just looks right, which might be a different take for me because I tend to go with the patterns and the big designs that a kit usually has. But this time the plainer shirt wins for me. So in 2026, they fully upgraded. Up next, we have Japan, and I was really disappointed when I saw this. So in 2022, their kit looked way better. I loved it a lot more. If you look at it, the pattern that they have on there was inspired by origami. And when you compare it to 2026, it just feels too safe for Japan. Now, Japan always comes out with these cool designs, making them bold. They're always pushing it. And don't get me wrong, 2026 design is pretty nice. If this was a different nation that had this design, I probably would really like it. But since I know this is Japan and I know what they're capable of doing, I just think they played it way too safe. So in 2026, this is a downgrade for me. Now we have Sweden, who are back in the World Cup after missing 2022. And honestly, this is another disappointment for me. The 2026 kit has a subtle wave pattern on the body, but you'd barely notice it really. You would think after missing the World Cup last time, you would come back with a design that was more exciting. And when I look at the 2018 jersey, the last time they were in the World Cup, it has more of a classic vibe to it. At the end, I'm gonna say the 2026 is just a slight upgrade for me, but it's still a letdown though. Tunisia finishes off Group F, and honestly, their 2002 kit was nice. It wasn't really that bad. I love the patterns across the entire shirt. But when I look at that 2026 kit, which was I think officially released just a few days ago, and if it's this same kit with the bold Tunisia lettering across the chest, man, that looks so sick. It just gives off that retro 90 football vibe to it. So overall, I love the 2026 kit way more. This is a clear glow up. To start off Group G, we have Belgium. And in 2022, their kit had these flame graphics on the sleeves that you see right there. And when I looked at it again, I immediately thought of Guy Fieri. and it just looks terrible. Now, when we look at the 2026 kit, it's just way cleaner. The red with the gold black trim, the tonal pattern on the body, everything about it just looks way more professional. So the 2026 home jersey is clearly better, making it a complete glow up for me. Now we have Egypt, and in 2018 they had a pretty plain shirt. And that's a common theme that we see with a lot of these nations. From years ago, they just have this like plain kit. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, it didn't work in 2018. Thankfully, in 2026, they got creative and they decided to go with this pyramid inspired design across the front, which I absolutely love. You can see that they put some real effort into this year of 2026 to incorporate that Egyptian culture into the design. So this 2026 home shirt is a clear glow up for me. Up next, we have Iran, and both of these kits in 2022 and 2026 are both clean looking and white, which are nice. In 2022, they had this cheetah pattern that ran across the shoulders, but in 2026, they decided to drop that pattern and actually put a real cheetah graphic on the front, which gives it a slight edge for me, to be honest. I mean, they're both white kits at the end of the day, but I like the 2026 one just a bit more because of that cheetah graphic print. So 2026 is the winner for me. To end off Group G, we have New Zealand, and I'm so glad that their 2026 kit is way better than their 2010 World Cup home jersey, which was the last time they were in the World Cup. So this 2026 one is black, which already looks way better than the plain white one that they had back in 2010. Beyond that, the design on 2026 is really clean. The Maui tribal pattern with the silver fern across the upper body just looks incredible. This is a kit that I definitely will be picking up. So this is a clear glow up for me from 2010. To start off Group H, we have Spain. And look, these are nations again that aren't going to do anything crazy with their home kit. And when you look at this year's home kit versus 2022 home kit, both of them look solid. However, I have to say this year's is just a bit of a downgrade, and the only reason is because of the blue on the sleeves that they have. Personally prefer the all red look from 2022. So for me, this is a downgrade. Now, this is how a nation debuts at a World Cup. Take a look at the Cape Verde's home kit. So since this is their first time at the World Cup, I can't compare from their last appearance. But just look how beautiful this kit looks. It has this geometric triangle pattern across the shirt right there, which represents the flight paths connecting to various islands that make up the entire nation. That's super clever from them, and you can really tell that they put a lot of thought into it. This team is definitely going to be representing their nation with pride, and I can't wait to see them at the big stage here. This is another team that I'll be rooting for. Up next, we have Saudi Arabia, who in 2022, they were part of the World Cup. When I compare it to 2026, for me, I like the 2022 kit a lot more. It's just a simple white jersey, but when we compare it to 2026, it has a lot going on for itself. It's green, it's got diamond purple patterns on it, which I'm sure has a beautiful meaning behind it, but it just doesn't work for me. But overall, the 2022 home jersey kit for Saudi Arabia, it has that subtle leaf pattern. It's just cleaner, it's more elegant for me. So for this year, it's just a complete downgrade. To finish off Group H, we have Uruguay. Now, Uruguay is another nation where they tend to stick close to their classic look, and you definitely can see that both in their 2022 and 2026 jerseys. And I will say the 2022 kit is nice, but the 2026 is just a little bit better for me just because of the collar that it has. That white collar just pops out and it gives it more of a traditional Uruguay feel to me. It's not a huge change, but it just gives it a slight edge. So for me, in 2026, Uruguay just had that small glow up. Now for Group I, we start off with France. Now in 2022, the last time they were in the World Cup and they made it to the finals against Argentina, the kit that they were using for that tournament was more of an elegant feel for me. It looked like they were trying to be too elegant. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but when you look at it compared to 2026, the pattern that they went with this year, it just makes the entire jersey look way better. For whatever reason, it just gives it that throwback classic look to it, which I absolutely love. The whole vibe just comes out a little bit stronger. So for me, the 2026 home kit is the clear glow up. And then you have Senegal, who participated also in the 2022 World Cup, and the kit that they used was really not that inspiring. I will say it did have a bit of a retro vibe to it, and a bold flag-inspired chevron across the chest, and it was pretty nice. But when you compare it to this year's 2026 home jersey, the design is just something else. The pattern that it has, you look closer, you can see a lion, you can see other patterns, different symbols. I'm sure it's all supposed to be meaningful in the Senegalese culture, and overall it just looks way more interesting and way more detailed, making it a clear glow up for this year. Then we have Iraq, who is participating in the World Cup for the second time in their lifetime. The last time they played was 40 years ago. They wore these amazing gold jerseys with Iraq lettering across the top of the chest right here. In my eyes, when I look at it, I just think how awesome it looks. And when I compare it to this year's 2026 kit, it's a nice choice for them. It's modern. I do love the patterning on it, and it's a clean look overall. But I just can't get over those gold jerseys that they had back in 1986. So for me, this is a complete downgrade. To finish off Group I, we have Norway. And in 1998, the kit just screams retro with these classic Umbro vibes, and I absolutely love it. And honestly, the more I look at this kit, the more I want to collect it for my personal collection. But then we have the 2026 one, and it's really cool too. It's more modern looking. I absolutely love the way that it looks. It definitely represents the flag with that cross design and the pattern on the blue section. It's really cool. If I had to choose, I think Norway definitely upgraded from 1998 to 2026. And yes, I love that vintage 98 look, but this modern design of 2026 is just super sick, and I can already see Erling Haaland winning the Golden Boot this year. Kicking off Group J is Argentina, the defending World Cup champions of 2022. And look, Argentina, this is another nation where they're not really going to tamper with their home kit design. And they definitely didn't do that from 2022 to 2026. Nothing really changed, just some minor tweaks. The major differences that you see is that the Adidas logo is gold, and in the middle they have that World Cup Champions winners badge. Also on the 2026 kit, the gradient on the blue stripes that they have there represents their 3 wins in 1978, 1986, and in 2022, which I think is really cool that they honor that. So for me, the 2026 is the clear upgrade here, mainly because of the Adidas logo in gold and that World Cup's winner badge. That's why it gets the upgrade for me. Then we have Algeria, which the last time they were in the World Cup, it was in 2014. And when you compare this 2014 plain looking kit to this year's 2026 home jersey, wow, what a glow up for them. And kudos for them for stepping it up, because they're coming back to the World Cup after 12 years. So this is a strong return for them. I love this 2026 design for them. I love that gold fading pattern that they've got going on there. This is a clear glow up from the last time they were in the World Cup. Up next, we have Austria. Now, the last time they were in the World Cup, it was in 1998. The crest on one side, the Puma logo on the other. Overall, it's a really cool 90s jersey, and I actually prefer it over this year's 2026 because when you look at it, it's just very plain and very underwhelming. And after not playing a World Cup in 28 years, you think they would come back with something really interesting, and it's really just a red kit with black sleeves. So their 2026 home jersey is a complete downgrade for me. To finish off Group J, we have Jordan, who are making their World Cup debut. And when I look at their kit, I don't really get too excited about it. It's a white kit with red diamond patterns on the shoulders. I'm sure it has some traditional Middle Eastern significance behind it, and it's a cool idea, but honestly, it just doesn't do anything for me. When I look at the other debut nations and what they've decided to do for their first World Cup home jersey, this one is just my least favorite. Group K starts off with Portugal, and when we look at the 2022 World Cup kit, I honestly hated it. I didn't like what they had going on with that green bottom half. I didn't like it at all whatsoever, and I'm so glad that they decided to change it up this year for 2026. I love the all red with the white stripes going across. Just gives it a more cleaner and classic look. So this is a for sure glow up in 2026 for Portugal. Then we have DR Congo reintroducing themselves back in the World Cup after 52 years. This is the second time ever they get to play in the tournament. And when you look at their kit from 1974 to this year's 2026 kit, it's really hard to say that they either did a glow up or they downgraded, because I love both kits personally. Their 1974 kit back when they were Zaire is all yellow. It has this cool graphic on the front, and when I look at it, it reminds me of a Bad Brains album cover, which I think is really cool. But then you look at the 2026 kit, a sky blue jersey with a leopard pattern on it, which actually is a nod to their nickname called the Leopards, which connects back to their 1974 kit. So to come back to the World Cup in this fashion 52 years later, and to deliver something like this, I think this is pretty cool, and I think that's a clear glow up for me for DR Congo in 2026. And now we have Uzbekistan making their World Cup debut, and I think they did a pretty good job with this kit. If you look closely, they have this pattern. It's a geometric diamond tile pattern across the body that pays homage to the historical architecture and famous tiled monuments that they have going on in their country. They put a lot of meaning into it, and I think that adds a real cool touch to this kit. And when you compare it to the other nations that are debuting in this year's World Cup, I think this is probably one of the better ones. So overall, the design is clean, it looks very nice, it's meaningful, and I really like it. Finishing off Group K is gonna be Colombia, and this is my home nation. Even though I was born and raised in the United States, I live here now, my family's Colombian, and this 2026 kit is super cool when you compare it to 2018 when we played in Russia. The kit that we used in 2018 was just yellow overall, and it had these lightning bolts in blue and red. Honestly, when I first saw it, I hated it. I didn't like it whatsoever. And then they came out with this kit in 2026, and wow, it is beautiful. And it has a lot of meaning behind it too. Because if you look closely, there is a pattern, it's a butterfly pattern, and that pays tribute to Gabriel Garcia Marquez and his novel, 100 Years of Solitude. It's a beautiful cultural touch, and it's an obvious upgrade from the last time we were in the World Cup. And if I'm being a little bit more honest, what I would like to see when Colombia makes more World Cups in the future, I'd like them to go a little bit more bold. I'd like them to be more eccentric with their design. This is awesome. 2026 jersey is great, but I think they could do just a little bit more if we make future World Cups. The final group is Group L, and to start it off, we have England. Now, England is another nation where they kind of stick to their traditional look for their home kit. And when you look at 2022, they have this blue on the shoulders, and I don't know what they were thinking in 2022, because if you compare it to 2026, the 2026 one blows it out of the water. And I don't know if English fans think the same way as I do. Maybe they like this year's kits, maybe they don't like it. But for me, I think this is a clear upgrade. Up next, we have Croatia. And here, I'll be honest, we have another disappointing and underwhelming design. Croatia always goes with this checkerboard on their home kit. That's just their thing, I guess. And when you compare it from 2022 to 2026, there's a little bit more going on this year. The checkerboard square is a little bit smaller, so you get to see more of the pattern. And I guess technically it is an upgrade, but the execution on this just feels like a downgrade at the end of the day. So yeah, I guess we can say they had a glow up in 2026. And then you have Ghana, and the last time they were in the World Cup was also in 2022, and they came out pretty plain. It just had a star in the middle, really. And in 2026, in my opinion, they had a major glow up. I think this kit is super cool. I've seen other people say that they don't like it, they hate it, they think it's kind of dumb. But this kit features the country's iconic woven cloth patterns across the entire body, which I think looks super cool when you look at it. I honestly thought it was like a spider web when I first saw it, but it's bringing a sense of their heritage to the modern game, which at the end is always something that you want to see, especially from your home nation, to kind of integrate your culture, your heritage into the design. And this is a pure example of a nation doing it right. So for me, the 2026 home design is a clear upgrade. To finish off Group L and to finish off all 48 teams is going to be Panama. And in 2018, they came out with this modern look, and it looked really nice and it looked clean. But 2026 has more of a retro feel, and I absolutely love it. And that's a huge upgrade for them. The Reebok branding and the polo collar just gives it that vintage vibes. I could totally see this being a collector piece in the future. So this is a clear upgrade for me, and it's a really nice way to end things off. Okay, so that's it. We've gone through 48 nations, every kit, every comparison. And I promised you at the start that I would give you my biggest glow up and my biggest downgrade of this year's tournament. So let's start off with the downgrade. And look, this one was super easy for me. This one's gonna be USA. You're the host nation. You had every reason to come out with something special, and yet you decided to give us this candy cane looking jersey. And I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like when I look at it. The 2022 kit was just a little bit nicer. It was cleaner, didn't have too much going on, but it was simple. With this one, you decided to put a red and white wavy stripes across the front and call it a day. And as the host nation, I think that's unacceptable. You should have gone a little bit bolder with your design. This is the worst downgrade of the tournament. There's no debate. And now for the biggest glow up, and this one I thought about carefully, and it goes to Germany. Their 2026 kit pays tribute to their World Cup wins in 1990 and in 2014. It has the bold V-shaped German flag panel across across the chest. Not just a better looking kit, it means something more, it tells a story, and that's what separates a good kit from a great kit for me. So yeah, Germany wins the biggest glow up for me. So let me know down below in the comments which ones you agree with me, which kits are your personal favorites of this year's World Cup, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.